Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl at Miss Dosula Ogola, founder and creator of this beautiful space. If you are new here, karibu sana, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are back again with another review, and this one is gonna be good. Yeah, if you've watched the show Blue Therapy, then you know what I'm talking about, and I'm just here to use that video to share my experience and to share my opinions and thoughts on the topics that will just come up. So without wasting any much of your time, let's get into the video, okay?
Just like everyone else, we've had our ups and downs, you know, things happen. But coming to therapy with a camera for some social experiment, that's just, it's a red flag, to be fair. And now, like, she knows my perspective on this. I'd prefer we go to a church and we sit down with a pastor in a corner. But, you know, us getting to this extent where we're actually here for a social experiment, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I think it's gonna go south, like, I'm 90% sure, but at the end of the day, I'll just say, look, I told you so.
Okay, so I feel like Chioma is definitely open for this experiment. I mean, she's the one that signed them up on the program. Paul is definitely not, well, what we're made to believe is that he is not interested in being there, but he's definitely just there to help, to support Chioma. I don't think that's a really, well, good place to go for therapy, but at least he's there. That's what I think. Yeah, so
online I read how important it is about, you know, having premarital therapy, counselling, and I do believe myself and Paul are in dire need of some help. I wouldn't say we've deteriorated to a point of no return, but at the end of the day we're progressing in our relationship and I'm not entirely happy.
Okay, so Paul, thank you for joining us. Have you got any idea of what expectations you are looking to get out of this therapy session?
I have no idea. I'm curious to find out.
Okay, that's great.
Well, there's this thing that the therapist says later on that the therapy session is private. It's just going to be between the two of them, and of course it's private when they're there, apart from the therapist and the camera crew. Yeah. So I don't know how private that is, but I don't know about doing this therapy thing on camera. But then again, also, if they hadn't done it, we wouldn't be here. So
Of life. So to me, Paul is very image. He puts too much emphasis on how people perceive us as a couple, how he's perceived as an individual and how I'm perceived as an individual. Currently in our relationship, we're doing a lot of patching instead of really like fixing the issues.
Okay, Paul, do you feel the same way?
I'm literally blown away. Like, I haven't even heard this before. Do you want to give more context to what you're actually saying? Because I'm a tiny bit...
Okay. Paul, for example, has a lot of friends. He has affluent friends. He feels like he has to fit in, which he might fit in as friendship, but when it comes to finances, he doesn't necessarily fit in. So if we're looking at percentage-wise and when they go out and what they spend, they can afford it. We can't. But Paul will do it anyway. And then he'll spend the next week or two chasing the bag he's blown, which now leaves me in a deficit of love. So there's neglect going on in our household.
All right, so we literally just got here. Like, we haven't been here for 5 minutes. Chioma's talking about finance to the bloody Denise, someone that we don't even know.
okay, first of all, I don't even know why Paul is complaining, because that's why you go to therapy, to talk about things like finances, things like communication. Like, those are the general topics inside a relationship, therapist, counseling. Like, those are the general topics. So I don't understand why he feels like it's too intrusive. But then again, Chioma talks about image. The two of them, I mean, look at them. They totally look like they do care about their image. But Chioma is complaining that Paul cares about his image a bit more and a bit too much. Paul ends up spending a lot more money out there, which he ends up having to work harder, and that leaves her at that deficit. I talk about this in a previous video, that people go into relationships for different reasons and different things. So connection being one, status being the other, and image being the other. For most mature people, they probably go for the connection bit of it. Other people do it for image, you know, like how do I look when I date a certain type of person? How does that add to who I am by dating this type of person? So if I date a famous person, that adds value to me and all of that. Or my status, how will that uplift my status as a person in society? So people generally, or typically, end up looking at these three things, if I'm correct. So I'm seeing that playing out here.
With the whole spending above your means, should I say, yes, we can afford it. I'm not saying we can't, because he's the first person to speak about finances and we need to save and we need to do this and we need to do that. But as much as, yeah, I purchase nice things, Paul does a lot of the spending. And in the past, we've had situations where he's invested and there's been no returns. So I don't feel like I need to suffer at the expense of his investing and putting himself in positions to get deals when not all the time it works out. And we're together. Do you know what I mean? We're in a relationship. We're not business partners. So I'm suffering for nothing.
Okay. Do you feel that it's an equal situation?
She just said she's suffering for nothing. Okay. So am I nothing?
That's not what I said.
Okay, I'm just like, Paul, really? That's really definitely not what she said. She didn't say you're nothing. She's suffering for nothing because she's losing out on a relationship. She's losing out on her investment of the relationship and she doesn't see why. Period. I think I've dated a few guys out here and I definitely think I've met a Paul in terms of mentality, in terms of thinking, so in terms of how they carry themselves out there in front of their friends, in front of people that they consider influential or people that they want to probably be associated with. It ends up being a situation whereby you see this man doing the very most because you're outside looking in. You're like, okay, you're doing the very most. Why can't you just be yourself? Why can't you just accept that you can't afford that and you can't afford to live like that, or you can't afford to buy these things?
Hater.
Well,
because I still celebrate your wins.
No, that's true. But the only thing is, let me give you an example, right? So literally, I have access to a good number of private members clubs. This is through the clients of mine. I train high net worth individuals, celebrities, you name it. Now, with these membership clubs, obviously it's not everyone that's, invited. And I feel like that kind of affects Chioma, whereas before, if we were going to like a normal type of, average, maybe not average Joe, but the usual, then I'll kind of be, oh babe, come along. But when I'm actually, grafting and chasing the bag, as she said, I don't really feel like she needs to be present, and she actually doesn't have an invite anyway, so.
Okay, that's not what I'm not upset that I'm unable to come to the events that you go to and to the gambling places, because it's gambling if you ask me. It's because
I find Paul very prideful, and he says he has to be the most humblest person in the room, but in this room he clearly isn't the most humblest person in the room to even listen or hear what Chioma is asking for, because to him he feels like Chioma is jealous of him or Chioma wants to go to those things, and yet Chioma is just saying, you know what, you're spending so much of your time on this business, these deals, these people, and you're not giving me any time. Here Paul is hearing his own things because he really isn't there to hear. He really wasn't there to hear in the first place.
Casino, isn't it? So the clubs you guys are going to and the money you're spending, some of it is gambling, all right? Because everything he likes to say is constructive. Clubbing is not constructive. It's not beneficial to our relationship or to him. Even places like that, he places too much emphasis on how they look at him. So you're out here doing the most, buying so many bottles, paying 10K for tables, and it doesn't make sense. And I'm at home being neglected. When he comes home, he goes back to work. So my point is,
their relationship is actually very much so a representation of society, because I feel like some of the guys that we end up dating, and when you're in a social space with them, you find that men want to flex. They want to be the ones buying the most expensive drinks. They want to be the ones entertaining everyone in terms of how much money they can spend and all of that. And for me, that's just like a deal breaker, and it turns me off, because I'm like, why do you have to do all these things? Especially if you know how this man earns, if you know how much they make, you're like, can't you just be comfortable with just being yourself and spending the amount of money that you're able to spend? But then again, it goes back to culture and society, how we view these men who wanachafua meza, you know, how we view them and how we value them. So they feel like if I can do that, then I can be more valued and I can be more accepted by the women around, or I can be treated differently or better, because yes, our society treats people differently because based on how much money they can spend, their status and all of that. So But then again, it takes some form of self-awareness. It takes some form of just being real with yourself and self-acceptance, you know, like understanding that your worth and your value is not based off of on how much money you can spend, how many women you have around and all of that. You are still valuable and worth it, whether you have women or not, whether you have this money or not. So this thing should not be defining the person that you are.
I'm happy for you to grind. I'm happy for you to do all the things you do. But again, we're in a relationship. The problem with you is you think we're business partners. We're not. I need love as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got a business, I work, but I still feed you, I still love on you, but I don't get, it's not reciprocated.
Right, so hang on, Paul, do you feel that you're giving as good as you get in the love stakes?
To be fair,
I love that question. And for anyone in a relationship or friendship or whatever, like, the question is, do you think you're giving as good as you get? I loved that question. And Chioma was just saying, you know, I need more of the attention. We're not business partners only, we are partners in life. So let's create and make more room for the relationship.
Well, to be fair, I thought I did, but now I'm thinking to myself, like, does she trust, do you trust me?
What?
Yes or no?
I do trust you.
Okay. If you trust me and you trust my judgment and you know that between the both of us, we both got ourselves to the position where we are, which is a better position than we were in, why would you not continue to trust the process?
Because you've eradicated the whole love aspect of our relationship.
Paul doesn't understand that, you know what, it's not that Chioma does not trust him, it's not that Chioma doesn't trust the process, it's just that Chioma is saying the relationship has changed. You know, like, I am still a woman, I am still your girlfriend, I still need you to tell me you like how I look, I still need you to tell me you love me, I still need you to touch me, I still need all these things from you, other than us trying to build this beautiful thing together and then also feeling soulless in the relationship. You know, the relationship has lacked soul for some time. I feel like that's what Chioma is saying, and Paul is locked in the mind and not here. He's really not connecting with his heart because he feels very much attacked in this process. Yeah.
I'm a woman, I'm not wood. Do you understand? Like, I've got a heart.
Now, this is the problem that
Now, I don't like what he's doing with those like, seriously, imagine when you're talking to your partner and you're really sharing from your heart, you're really sharing, you know, like, I want these things, these are the things I desire from you, or long from you, and they're like, it's condescending, it's irritating, and it just shows they're not listening. They're not listening because, again, they're stuck here and they're not here. You know, they're not connecting with their heart.
The last loving thing you did for
Denise?
Yeah, Denise.
Look, we're not going to play the whole turn each other against each other. When's the last time you bought flowers? Look, forget about all of that. Let's get down to what it is now. Just to briefly go over this, right?
Answer the question, Paul. When's the last time you did something nice for Chioma? You know, like, no one is turning anyone against the other, but then again, Paul feels very attacked in this place because there's some truth coming out. So,
as far as I understand, you've been called, or employed rather, to basically help us in our relationship to get better, right? Okay. So, how do you think you're doing so far?
Okay, first, don't be rude.
It's a genuine question.
That's uncalled for.
It's a genuine question.
Okay, I can answer that, Shay.
first of all, I was super embarrassed on behalf of Chioma because, honestly, this guy, he's very ill-mannered, in my opinion. Like, he's not well-mannered. This is not the platform. This is not the place. This is not the time to ask those questions. These are questions that he should have asked Chioma before they came to the therapist, and not embarrass himself and embarrass the girlfriend like this. You know, I personally, I don't even know how Chioma has managed to date this guy this long.
Your background, what business are you in?
Yes.
Yeah, answer the question, babe.
So what does my business have to do with the relation? Just asking.
I just wondered, you know, whether that was influencing the way that you deal
provider.
with life. Sorry?
I'm a provider.
What is it that you do? I don't understand. Just
Well, I don't see how this is going to help our relationship in the long term. This is the problem that I have, right? Look, with this Denise lady, I just feel like she's just asking lots of intrusive questions that doesn't really relate to the situation at hand. She's asking me, what do I do? Like, I make money. That's what I do. Like, it's a silly question. What do you want from me? Do you understand? The whole point is she's here, right? And I got her here. We've been together for 3 years.
You got me here. Nothing to do. Paul will tell his friends I've just done something. No, you haven't. Like, chill, relax. Like, you're not busy 24/7. Even the busiest person has time, Paul.
So Chioma is definitely complaining and saying that Paul claims to be busy all the time, and I feel like Paul has attached a lot of his value and worth to the money that he brings home. There's that. To his work as well, showing society that he's on this grind, he's on this hustle all the damn time, and as he's doing that, other things in his life, things are suffering, you know. So that's the situation that he's gotten himself into. Ignore the fact that he's very rude and he is very irritating and such a prick.
And do you do anything together? Any, you know, hobbies that you do together?
Aside from on our laptops in the same room, maybe. When we started dating, we used to like the same music. He was more fun. Now I don't even know who's sitting next to me, to be honest.
And how do you feel?
I think that's BS.
It's BS.
Look, music. I'm a Burna Boy fan. You used to be, but now
I still like Burna Boy.
Wizkid. Like, that doesn't make sense. If you like something, this.
If you've been listening to Burna Boy, you should be Burna Boy to death. This guy is crazy. Like, for me, I was just like, huh? What's going on? What's this? So Chioma shouldn't listen to Wizkid. So just because Chioma has different interests, they can't connect on any other thing or any other type of music. Okay, first of all, I just found this part of the video very stupid, and if you want to watch it, you can go over to Blue Therapy page and watch that part, because for me, that part, I was just like, I cannot deal with such stupidities, and this cannot be arguments in a relationship. It's really, really dumb. For Paul, I'll say it again, he's here, he's not here. He's not listening to Chioma, because Chioma is speaking from her heart. Paul is speaking from his mind, you know, and he has refused to move down to his heart because he has refused to be vulnerable to some level. And believe you me, there are men who are like this out there, and to me, if someone cannot be vulnerable, if someone cannot humble themselves, if someone cannot be open enough to just have this conversation, I don't know, maybe the cameras and I don't know, maybe that's a very intimidating situation for him. But then again, I'm like, you signed up for it, honey. If you're gonna do it, then really just do it.
Right, so tell me, Paul, before you got involved with Chioma, how did you run your household?
Well, obviously, everything was self-sustainable, self-managed. However, at the end of the day, I think the question that you should be asking Chioma is, if she is getting into a relationship with a person like myself, I don't want to say bring into the table, but...
What am I bringing to the table?
No, I'm not saying that you don't.
Like, Paul is a typical traditional man, and he has traditional expectations of what a girlfriend or a wife or a fiancé should be in his life, and that's why this is a problem. Chioma is saying, I'm doing a lot for the relationship. I too go to work. When I leave work, I come home and I make sure you come home to a home. I clean, I cook, I make sure everything is handled. But how comes to you, you feel like when you just pay the bills or you provide me a particular type of life, that's all you should be able to give me? You don't want to get involved with the personal life, with my personal life, taking care of me and taking care of my needs, you know, in this relationship. And Paul is like, you know, I do much, I do a lot because I provide you a certain type of life. And for me, that's a bit problematic on Paul's end, and also a bit problematic on Chioma's end, because these are just expectations that they both have. Chioma expects Paul to understand that she works, she needs support in the house and all of that, and Paul on the other hand is the traditional guy who's like, I bring the bread home, so you create a home and make food and all of that, and you shouldn't have to worry about the money bit of the relationship because I can handle that, I can do that. But Chioma is also saying, you know what, I don't just go to work because it's about the money. I also go to work because I enjoy going to work. It gives me fulfillment, a sense of purpose, and all of that. These things down women's throat. Like, you can't just force a woman to be a housewife. It has to come from her. If it does, is it something that she wants to do? You can't just have that expectation and you meet a woman and you just put it on her. You know, everyone is different, every woman is different. So as a woman, you can't expect this man not to be a traditional man. First of all, being black, being African, because a lot of our cultures pushes that type of narrative, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then again, to have that expectation that this man is probably not traditional, and having those conversations is very important. And Chioma brings in another point, like I told you from the beginning, from the start. Yeah, so don't let people expecting them to change later on after 6 years, after 3 years, and then only then it's when you realize actually this person never wanted to be a housewife. And you're 7 years into the relationship and you're like, but I wanted a housewife. Probably Paul communicated that he is the typical traditional man who expects a woman to be a housewife. Chioma, I don't know why Chioma is so surprised that she's ending up doing all these things in the household. I don't know. I also don't know why she is acting like that, because I'm like, babe, you know the type of man you're getting with, you know the kind of expectations that he has. So if you're gonna be with him, either the two of you come to an agreement, or these are those few things that you kubali and move on with your life, and you're like, let me just deal with it. When I'm with my mom, she tells me, Dosila, work for yourself, so that for you as a woman, you have the opportunity to, at any point in your life, to get your bag and go. Because not so many women had that opportunity, not so many women had that power to do that economically and financially, to do that. They didn't have that power. So that's the thing. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. If you have, and you have your opinions and thoughts about this, have you dated a Paul before? Well, let me know below in the comment section, because I definitely have dated a Paul before, and not deeply like that the way Chioma has, but I have, and I got out of that relationship as soon as I could, because I just couldn't. The feeling is suffocation. You can't breathe when you're around this person, because they just don't understand you, and they don't hear you, and they feel like they're here and you're here, and it's hard. So if you like this video, if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's your girl at Miss Dosila Ogola, founder and creator of this beautiful space. Until we meet again, bye. Love you guys.